Is your eye okay? What happened to your eye? I noticed there's a bruise there.
Well, it wasn't. I wasn't anywhere near France, so. But
What does that mean?
No,
I didn't notice his
First lady of France.
Getting slapped,
I didn't notice.
Yeah, no, I was just horsing around with little X, and I said, "Go ahead, punch me in the face," and he did. Turns out, even a 5-year-old punching you in the face actually does.
That was X that did it?
Yeah.
X could do it. If you knew X,
I saw his mom right now.
Yeah, if you knew X, you'd know that X gonna give it to you, I guess. So that was a really weird joke that I just made. No, that was a really weird cover story from Elon, or story, as to why he had a black eye. Because it is, as a parent, it's strange to tell your kid to punch you in the face, right? That said, I still accepted it, because if anyone was gonna do that, it would be a weirdo like Elon Musk, who's clearly a strange person and a bad parent who has no genuine connection with their kids and would go around just telling them to punch them in the face. It's weird, but I accepted it. That said, is that actually what happened? Because there's new reporting that implies that he wasn't actually punched in the face by a kid. He was punched in the face by a full-grown adult who likely punches like a kid, actually. Because we've learned more about his brawl with Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. Apparently, Musk thrust his shoulder into Bessent's ribcage like a rugby player, according to the Washington Post. And I just want to fact check that. He may have shoved his shoulder into Bessent's ribcage. He doesn't do anything physically like a rugby player. He doesn't do anything physically like any athlete whatsoever. But he apparently rammed into him. Bessent started to hit Musk back, and the fight had to be broken up by several bystanders. The world's richest man was shuffled out of the West Wing, okay? And so they were yelling at each other, but also hitting each other. And suspiciously, that's when Elon Musk gets a black eye. Now, there's a couple potential explanations for this. One is that Bessent punched him in the face, which is possible, and if that is the case, then I'm now on Team Bessent. Or it could be that like Musk leaves that fight and he's so mad about what goes on that he kind of like fake picks a fight with his kid and then X punches him in the face. So I'm not sure which it is, JR. What do you think actually was going on here?
First of all, don't back away from your X gonna give it to you joke, because I laughed out loud enough that I snorted. I'm glad I was muted. So besides that, I had heard about the fight before anything about what's this guy, Elon Musk, talking about this kid punched him in the face. That's what I thought was the whole thing. Scott Bessent, as the story goes, socked him up. But before that, he got into fights with Marco Rubio, all these folks where he had beef with so many different people because he walked in there with his head all up and his hands in his chest. He's like, yo, I'm the big man around here. Donald Trump told me I can do whatever the F I wanna do. And he got to doing whatever the F he wanted to do. Eventually, other egos built out, and they got into these types of fights that left him with this eye jammy. By the way, since these Republicans are so scared of anyone else that's not a cisgender, straight, white Christian male, Scott Bessent's gay. He's got a husband and a couple of kids, I believe. So you let this gay man, because they're so soft, whoop your ass. I mean, maybe that's the more embarrassing part that they didn't want to let out there. It's because Scott Bessent kicked his ass around the Oval Office, dropped him with a 2-piece and a side of fries to make sure that he got the hell out of there. Sorry asses. I heard about this before. I didn't know this was new.
I had no idea that Scott Bessent was gay. It is.
Yeah.
There's actually a little bit of diversity in Trump's cabinet, because as always, the fact that he's a billionaire trumps anything else. But I'm actually surprised.
I mean, also notice though how they've never said that. There's no, this gay man in the administration is destroying our democracy because he's gay. Weird how it helps them when he's also part of their whole regime. There's no mention of how disastrous he is, how he's destroying families, and how he's maybe injecting some gayness in the entire administration. It's weird how that works, right?
Yeah. It's weird how a lot of stuff works. But anyway, we'll likely never know the actual truth of what happened, but and it's just funny that they're physically brawling. There's this evidence. And if it wasn't his kid, it's a strange thing to blame your kid for giving you a black eye if it wasn't actually. And again, they could. Kids do hit. They mess around and stuff like that. So I'm still not ruling it out as a possibility. Some people are saying they thought that Musk just like passed out on ketamine and hit his face on a coffee table. Some of the chat said that. That's also equally plausible.